Identity, the condition of being oneself or itself and not another, as defined by dictionary.com.
Here you go.
Man, you guys should have come up with leading questions for me, because it's like, man,
Okay, your identity.
who am I?
Who are you?
Go for it. Okay, I think everyone tells you not to, but the easiest way to, describe yourself and your identity is through labels, because, how else we need to talk about it somehow, and labels are just putting a name to things and aspects of yourself. So if you were to ask me who I am, I'd say I'm a college student, I'm bisexual, I'm a vegetarian who leans vegan sometimes. And all of those things are really broad, but together they make up sort of like a really integral part of who I am. High school.
I identify myself as. Is that what you say? Huh? Okay, so I identify myself as happy, musical, fun, and jazzy.
A person who's very good with people. I've been a social person for as long as I remember, and I don't know how to end this sentence.
Sandro Botticelli, born in 1445 in Florence, Italy, started his painting career at 14 when he was apprenticed to Filippo Lippi. Lippi influenced Botticelli greatly, contributing to the delicate faces and intricate detail that Botticelli is well known for. Just 1 year later, Botticelli was successful enough to open his own workshop. His style of painting enhanced the fragile and natural style of Lippi's teachings, eventually coming up with his preferred color palette and subject matter. He often liked to paint about ideal beauty and naturalistic themes, oftentimes preferring to have religious tones in his paintings. He was also well loved by the Medici family, which led him to traveling to Rome to contribute a few paintings to the Sistine Chapel. He never married, but there are rumors that he had an unrequited love for the model he used in The Birth of Venus. Sadly, he started to decline in his later life due to the immense changes Florence went through, especially in the art scene. When the High Renaissance came around, and along with it artists like Da Vinci and Michelangelo with more contemporary styles, Botticelli lost his place in the limelight.
Primavera showcases 9 different characters, each representing Roman mythology. Every single one of these characters plays a role in the allegory that is the coming of spring. On the far left, we see the god Mercury, also known as the god of May, dispelling winter clouds and bringing in the spring.
Mercury represents someone who is confident in his identity and comfortable with who he is. He's no Venus, but he's not sweating it. What were originally winter clouds on their way out in the face of spring are now feelings of anxiety and doubt, represented in a mountain made of harsh reds. Our modern-day Mercury is dispelling these feelings of anxiety, bringing on the warmth of self-confidence.
Next to Mercury, we see the 3 Graces, who are all dancing, wearing sheer clothing, and represent chastity, beauty, and love, with Cupid getting ready to shoot his arrow at them, the arrow representing marriage.
Next are the 3 Fates, which represent coming out. Cupid is pointing his arrow towards the Fates in the original painting, implying an imminent marriage, so we chose this group to represent sexual identity. Since coming out is something that is oftentimes filled with fear and confusion, we decided to depict the positive side of it. All of them look open and comfortable with themselves, sporting the colors of the bisexual pride flag.
In the center of the piece, we see Venus, who is the Roman goddess of love, sex, beauty, and fertility. She is shown as the ideal woman and represents human nature, civilization, and kindness.
Venus, who represents the ideal self, is less of a person, more of a vague impression of one. This represents how our identities are not fully formed by the time we leave high school, if they ever are. Identity is something that changes constantly throughout our lives. At age 18, there's virtually no one who has reached their full potential or their ideal selves yet. Identity is something that we've only begun to scratch the surface of during high school. Because of this, Venus is the beginning of a drawing. The frame is there, the lines of reference, so we know where the mouth and the nose go, and we have the rest of our lives to fill everything else in.
On the right side of the painting, we can see three figures, which are Zephyrus, Chloris, and Flora. Zephyrus is pursuing Chloris, who later turns into Flora, spreading her flowers out for everyone to enjoy.
The final group of people represents the struggle of anxiety and depression, connecting the left and right sides. Anxiety and depression are things that many people have to deal with throughout high school, and that play a huge role in how we come to define ourselves. Zephyrus is hovering over Chloris, representing mental illness plaguing someone who has no means of dealing with it. Mental illness can be an important part of someone's identity, and it can also have an extreme impact on the way the rest of someone's identity forms. Although most mental illnesses can't be cured, they can absolutely be lived with, and this is what Flora represents. She is what comes after someone realizes their mental illness doesn't make them less of a person. It plays a vital role in her life, but it's just another facet of who she is, rather than something that wholly defines her. We started the painting with the background. Since our overarching theme is identity and how people come into it, our background was a good place to start. We each painted various scenes and people that have influenced us, like a house or a concert or a person. The different things all bleed together like memories often do, showing how many different things influence a person as they come into their identity. High school is an especially formative time for many people, which is why these scenes have all come from the last 4 years of our lives.
Though the deep meaning is something that many people still theorize about today, it is known that this painting depicts an allegory for the coming of spring. This is seen in the title itself, the presence of the spring-associated beings, and the suggestion of a coming marriage. The setting in an orange grove is also significant, symbolizing fertility in the Medici family symbol. This is fitting, as the painting was originally commissioned by the Medici family to be hung in the bedroom of a Medici bride. The humanistic values of the painting lend to the Neoplatonic movement, which was all about mixing Plato's ideas with the best parts of Christianity. Two of their concepts seen clearly in the painting are ideal love and absolute beauty. These ideas, which can be seen in the lavishness or gracefulness of the figures and the romantic tones, were very popular when this was painted.
Music has played a big role in shaping myself. So, especially in high school, being in drumline and jazz band, that really built up my confidence levels. Because especially in jazz band, there's only one drummer, so you have to kind of lead the band. You have to be confident and bold in what you do, set a tempo for the song, and then just maintain that and just lead everybody. And also in drumline, you have to be able to teach everyone, lead them, especially being a captain. That was a challenge for me.
Yeah. I became who I was today by my parents and my peers, and also realizing that I want to try new things. And with trying new things, I met new people, saw new opportunities, and made new experiences.
So it was like I took a philosophy class junior year and I started thinking about my moral code and if I lived up to it all the time, and that's how I decided to go vegetarian. Or, you know, it's high school and I had a boyfriend and I was interested in a girl, and all these things that happen during high school that are really quintessential, and sort of everybody goes through them to some degree. Everyone starts figuring out, like, what are my morals? Who do I want to date? That sort of thing. It's not unique to me, but the answers everyone comes to are unique to them.